Got it. All
Hey
right.
everyone, it's Anahata. How are you? Thanks for tuning in. We have a very special guest today, someone that I look forward to getting to know more over the years. He's sort of the grandfather, not in age, but in wisdom and his reach. His heart just exploded onto the map. I only think like a year and a half ago, he'll tell his story. But you know that I have been raving about the frequency wand for about 6 months now. And the results speak for themselves. Of course, they're empowering their own customers who are using it, who are getting visceral results to share. Because why? There's regulations. You know, we can't say it's a medical device. We can't, there's a lot of rules. And so it wouldn't really fly in the mainstream. And to get around that, we just say, here, try it yourself. Does it work? Do you feel better? And holy SHIT, it is revolutionizing. I kind of feel like it's a med bed in a machine, if you will. And you know, I do lots of training around why terahertz is so special, and it's the golden mean. And so I just wanted to have Ricky on because he's built this massive organization that's sweeping across America and the entire world and putting the company, which I will not name for a reason, on the map. Guys, if you ever are curious, get with the person who invited you to this presentation. Don't order through me. Don't order through Ricky unless you heard about it through us. Okay, that's very important. It's sort of like the code. And I just want to introduce him to you all here. And he's traveling around. Actually, tell us what you're doing right now, Ricky. It's so fun, so cool.
Well, right now I'm in my RV, which I bought thanks to Prive, and I'm in Southern California, in Los Angeles. I'm in Dock Wheeler RV Park. It's right on the Pacific Ocean. And we came in from Northern California on the 18th to watch two concerts. We're into the Grateful Dead.
Woo!
So we're into this show touring. Dead and Company is touring. They just started their summer tour. They opened up their summer tour in Los Angeles. So we shot two nights, Friday and Saturday night were incredible. And then there's a lot of East Coast shows that we're not going to make, but we're going to head out to Utah and Colorado, and we're going to catch 3 shows up in Folsom Field in July, and then up in the Gorge. We're going up to the Gorge, you know, in Washington in July, and then back to San Francisco. So we're going to tour around for the summer and, you know, visit the national parks in Utah and Colorado and stuff, you know. So, yeah, it's all thanks to Pride.
Yeah, so tell me about that. Like, what happened like a year ago to now? And you can be as vivid as detail or as vague. Take as much time as you want. I just want you to share. You know, your heart is so big, and you have such a story. And I know that so many people are probably in similar circumstances as you. And just hearing this bright light, this journey you've been through, is really awe-inspiring and touching. So what happened, and how getting here?
It definitely always wasn't a bright light. You know, there was a lot of darkness there in my life. I was suicidal a couple years ago. You know, in 2019, I had a mental breakdown, and I didn't want to be around anymore. And I almost checked out. You know, like literally, and I didn't, thankfully, as I'm here. But I spent 9 days in a hospital. You know, trying to piece things back together. I went through kind of like the dark night of the soul. This was in late October, you know, 2019. And then so from 2020, 2021, you know, I was kind of just like surviving. You know, I was really depressed. You know, I kind of like went to sleep at night and, you know, I hoped I didn't wake up, you know. I was living in a lot of anxiety, a lot of depression. You know, there was a lot of it is relevant out there in the society. And then went through this whole, you know, COVID junk, you know, and then the whole everything that was in March 2020. And so, you know, I tried to get better. You know, I sought some natural healing. Some places I was on medication. I got off medication, and I was kind of like, you know, I was floating, that I was okay, you know. And then come January 2022, you know, William Bowles, you know, gave me a call, actually sent me a text message. He says, "Hey, Ricky, you know, you got to check this out." You know, I looked at it, I said, you know, it looks like a hair dryer, you know. And I said, no. I said, I'm not interested. Leave me alone, because I was not interested in anything. I was depressed,
Yeah.
And so I messaged him back, and he called me up right away. He said, Ricky, you got to do this. You have to try this. I said, I can't afford it. I'm broke. I was on food stamps. I was on food stamps, and I was also receiving government assistance to stay in my house, my small place I was renting, because I'm a veteran. So I was receiving veterans assistance and food stamps. And my food stamp just ran out. This was like January 2022. They just cut me off. They said, that's it. You're not getting any more. And I was like, oh my God. So William's like, I said, William, I can't afford it. I don't have any money. It's made in China, and I'm not interested in a piece of junk. That's what, because I just looked at it. I was like, what is this junk?
Yeah.
And so he said, got me on the phone with David Gantner, and it was January 21st. And he says, we're going to send you one. I said, really? He said, yeah, you can't say no. I'm going to send it to you, and you just try it and see what happens, I said, well, I'll try it for a couple months, and I'll do my due diligence. And if I'm not interested, I'll just send it back to you, And he said, just try it, So came to my door January 26th. I opened the box up, and I look at it, and it's like just a hair dryer, I have it right here. We all know what it looks like, And it didn't have any directions. And I'm like, what? No directions? I called up William. I said, William, what is this? There's no directions. How am I supposed to? I was like so pissed off. How am I supposed to? Just calm down, Ricky. Calm down. I'm going to send you the directions. So he sent me the directions. It was a basic technique. I read it. It was 40 minutes long. It said you could do it up to 40 minutes, and you could do it up to 3 times a day. So all right. I said, that's it. I'm doing it. I sat down on my couch. It was January 26, 2022. And I looked at my watch, my phone. It was 1:32 in the afternoon, and I turned it on. And I did exactly what the directions said. Did my arms, did my torso, did my back, did my legs, did everything exactly to the T, exactly what they said, And I turned it off. Then I went and I laid down. So we'll see what happens. All of a sudden, I'm laying in my bed, and like about 3 minutes later, I feel like my whole body is just like light.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know if you remember the Pac-Man, there used to be this game called the Pac-Man. It used to be like, yeah. I feel like all these Pac-Man, like millions and millions and millions of Pac-Man inside every cell of my body, and my entire body just going, and they were all filled with this light. It was just like this, and I jumped out of bed. And I got up, and I remember that second from jumping out of my bed, and from my bed to my doorway. At that moment, I said, this is it.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I'm alive.
Yeah.
This is the reason I'm here. Yeah. This is my mission. It's like I just stepped into my shoes. Yeah. It's kind of like these shoes were waiting for me the whole time, but I just put my shoes on. Yeah. And I realized at that moment that everything that happened to me in the last 2 years was because of this. Yeah. Like all that, I created all that stuff I went through because I'm a light worker, and I created all that darkness, that I went through. And so I can hold space for the other people, that we need to work with. That's why we're here. We're light workers, so we can help other people, And so I realized at that moment that this was it. This was my mission, and I made a declaration at that moment that this was it. So I went out to my couch. I sat down on my couch, and I closed my eyes, and my higher self, my other higher dimensional body, was sitting right across from me. And it was looking at me, and I was looking at my higher dimensional self, and we were having this conversation. And I'm feeling all this light coming in my body, but at the same time, I'm feeling all this light going out my body. At that moment, I realized there's no separation. That's all we are is light. And what this magical, mystical, beautiful, amazing device was, it shattered the darkness. Yeah. That was preventing that light. So I called up William. I said, William, this is amazing. It's unbelievable. You don't believe what happened to me. He's like, who is this? I said, this is Ricky. What? I said, I thought I'd hear from you in like 2 weeks. I said, William, this is it. I'm going to build this business. I'm going to go sponsor 100 people. I'm going to be one of the biggest leaders in this company. Yeah. And he's like, okay. let's do it, So that's it. So then that was January 26th. So I made that declaration. I created that. Like I created my future in that moment. Like my future was already here.
Yep.
I just had to catch up to my future.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really, future and past doesn't really exist, as
Yeah.
you know, as other people know. But I had to catch up to my future, which was already here. So I was like, that's it. And started calling people. The next day, I think it was a Thursday, the 27th, I got 3 people to come over to my house.
Mm-hmm.
I said, hey, come on over. I got this thing I want to show you, With my friend Pete, my friend Diane, and I forgot her name, Yvonne. And so they came over. I put them on my massage table. I wandered them. I said, you got to check this out. Tell me what you think,
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, got off the table. First guy, Pete, he had like really bad neck stuff going on. Couldn't move it. Big, husky, sturdy guy. Got off the table. Wow, you move my neck.
Yeah.
How do I buy it? Whipped out $350.
Yeah.
Diane had some issues with her joints. And felt immediately. Whipped out $350.
And now
and then it was like,
but that's the 2.2. But anyway, keep going. I just don't want people to get confused now.
Yeah. And so back up a little bit. The next morning I woke up, after my first session, my first day. I actually did another session that night, but the next morning I woke up and I got out of bed and I noticed that my back was like so much better. Mm-hmm. Like normally I would get up and I'd be like, creaky like this, and I'm 62, so I got a little bit issues going on in I got degenerative disc disease and some issues there, and but this was like all the discomfort was like 90% was gone, and then I went to the bathroom and I noticed that men really relate to this, is that my urine stream was stronger, because as men get older it gets slower and weaker, it was like, whoa, this is awesome, so I got really excited because I saw these changes right away in myself, not only on my spiritual level, but on my physical, my emotional level too. Yeah. But as far as my spiritual and emotional level, I remember that day when I walked outside after my session, everything looked different. All the trees looked different. It was like the first time I saw these trees. I mean, I've been living here for like 5 years, and it's like the first time I saw these trees. It was like, I realized at that moment that this works on so many dimensions.
It does.
It's not just this physical dimension, it's multiple dimensions.
Oh, yeah.
And it cleared and shattered all this karmic garbage and darkness on all these other dimensions. And it was like almost like taking a hit of acid or something. It was like I just showed up, and it was like, whoa, man. So I had these 3 people come over to my house, and they all loved it. They all got the wand. And then I got on the phone with a couple network marketers I knew, Madison Baker, great network marketer. She was totally into it. I started going after and recruiting some amazing people, like Steven and John. And we just started going to work, And long story short.
Now, before we talk about your growth in terms of numbers, I want to just press pause and share, as I'm a best-selling author. I've got tens of thousands of students around the world teaching quantum applications of water bending, assisting frequencies, and really what I came to find out quickly, which reiterates what you just said, is that the wand is like a bridge between the seen and the unseen. It meets people where they are. Absolutely. And it feels like it's a 3D solution to a 3D problem, because when you're depressed, when you're in pain, when you aren't able to even see the trees, you are just locked and loaded in fight, flight, survival mode. You are not aware. You are not expanding. You're condensed. Everything is happening to you, not through you. And if you can just get through into a higher plane of reality, you'll see that all of that is illusional. And so I always tell people, look, it's not going to happen to tell someone who's depressed, just snap out of it and use positive thinking. They're like, yeah, F you, because that's not where they are. And so you have to meet them where they are. And this wand, to me, is a 3D answer to a 3D problem. And, there's been people that I've known that have said, look, Holly, I wouldn't believe you if I didn't go to high school with you, back in the 90s. And sure, I'll try it. and but I have this, and this wrong, so I'm not expecting anything. And then they get it and they plug it in, and then they're like, WTF is this thing? Like, what just happened? And
I know,
so
it's amazing.
it's one of the most exciting things is that people can literally, as you said, it's not just physical, but that's a beautiful benefit. Because if you can get past that edge of pain and suffering in the physical body, you can begin to expand into the higher places that you can wand for mental issues, for epigenetical issues. I mean, you and I are both on that same page of that quantum application. I teach an entire course on it. But like, I loved your explanation of, you plugged it in and then all of a sudden it broke through all of this karmic BS and you went outside and you're like, what just happened? Well, you just quantum leaped into a whole new reality. You just merged with the higher version of yourself that was trying to say, hey, Ricky, for years. And you so eloquently put that you were in that dark night because of that reason. So, yeah. So then tell us about what happened after you started sharing and then those people started sharing.
It was like the key for me. It's like a key that just opened up a whole nother dimension. So all the other fourth and higher dimensions, and I got to access all these other planes or these other parts of my own spiritual being. I mean, we know it works quantumly because I've done remote work with people, and I've done remote work with John, and we've done videos on wanting water remotely, and it's getting out there that it works remotely because it one of the three things about it is the quantum application to it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So what was your question? How my business
So then
started
tell us about the growth trajectory, because it was really fascinating what happened. You made that statement, that declaration, you told a few people and those people told a few people and those people's told a few people. And then, don't be modest. Tell us what happened with your organization. How many people are in it? Like what happened in the last year?
I mean, I committed to it. I mean, I married at that moment when I made that declaration. I made it at such a high level of consciousness and a high level of being that I was just like, so to speak, awake or enlightened or something with this experience, that I made it at that level, which, it was like, I just made that declaration that this is it. I'm going to build this. I said, I'm going to sponsor 100 people. I'm going to become a top leader and all that stuff, But so I mean, I didn't have there was no in my vocabulary. There was no I can't do this, and I had no options. I mean, I was 62 and broke, 61 years old and broke, and maybe I could collect Social Security at 62. I mean, big deal, $1,000 a month. I mean, I had no options. This was it, do it or die. And I went to work and I worked 15, 16 hours a day. My first 8, 9 months, my first year. And I called up every single person I knew and I told them my experience and I got them to get a wand. And then I called up every network marketer I knew, every top leader that I've ever known that I had some kind of sort of relationship with, like Stephen Keller. Mm-hmm. I mean, Stephen was like, I remember I didn't even talk to Stephen. I just messaged him on Messenger. And I said, Stephen, I know you from this other company that we were with. Yeah. And we had this little communication back and forth over the last year. I'd say hi, he'd say hi, I'd check out his stuff. I knew he was into emotional code work and all that stuff. And I say, you got to check this out. He says, well, I'm into looking at different gadgets. I mean, I'll take a look at it, and he took a look at it. That's all I asked. Just check it out, take a look at it. And he says, I'm not going to do anything with it, but I'll get one. I said, great. So I said, you don't have to. I heard that so many people. Oh no, I'm not going to tell anybody about it. Believe me. I mean, I'm never going to tell anybody about it. I'll get one for myself. I got one for myself. Next thing I know, a couple of weeks later, hey, can I get one for my parents? And he got one for his parents. And hey, let's maybe do a little testimonial call, or maybe let's set up a testimonial. Next thing I know, he sets up a testimonial group and a support group. They're his groups, the Facebook testimonial group and support group. Yeah. And then, at that time, I sponsored John Scavola on my other leg, and that was in the beginning of February, and John and I knew each other from the previous company. We were in different organizations, but I knew he had a little quantum. I knew he was really, I actually met John. We hung out a bunch of times, since 2 or 3 times since then. Beautiful man. And so he's like, yeah, I'll take a look at it, and I'll do it, whatever. And then things just, people got their hands on it. I mean, I said, just get your hands. just try it, you know.
Exactly.
And then it just went boom. And then Madison went to work, and she
Yeah.
sponsored some other people who sponsored some other people, and it just went crazy. It just
Yeah.
exploded. The trajectory, I don't know. I mean, we were putting in 10, 15, 20 people a day, you know, 25 people a day. I remember I was like, you know, there was so many people coming on board, and the system was complicated, more complicated than it is now.
Yeah.
And William, my sponsor, was like, Rick, I can't do this for you anymore. You have to learn how to do it yourself. I'm like, all right, give me a day, give me a day. So people calling me, you know, Madison be calling me, hey, be texting me this person, this person, this person,
Yeah,
this
yeah,
person, like 15, 20, 30 people,
Yeah.
you know, and I'd be entering them all in the system and entering them. And says, I remember one night I was so exhausted, and I had 5 more people to put in. I said, William, I just can't do this. Help me, please put these people in the system. You know, I said, I can't do it. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. It was like the first time ever in network marketing where I actually said I could
Yeah.
not put, there were so many people to put in the system, you know.
Yeah.
So it just ballistic, you know, and I think I got up to just a fortune. I mean, you know, I started making some serious money, you know. My first idea when I first looked at the compensation plan, I saw that there's this level pairing, and if you could, you know, level pair each time you level pair, and this was the end of January, and William, my sponsor, put 5 people on my left side, you know, just customers. Actually, one of them really went to work, my friend Ken. And I said, well, if I could just put 5 people on my other side, then I can make, I knew you make $80 a level pair and 20, I could make $500 to pay my rent. You know, I mean, that was my first idea. I could pay my, I could pay my rent. I could buy food, you know, and my car payment. I could, you know, and that was it. And that's how I started. That was my first goal, you know, and then it just went ballistic. February 2022, March, April. By May, I was, you know, they wanted me on broadcast and stuff. I mean, I got up to, I think by May or June, I was top USA earner, you know, and I maintained USA earner since then, you know. I mean, I've been in number 2, and 1 month I was number 3, but I've always been on the,
you'll be
that
back,
board that you see
in number 1 again and again, because I'm bringing the force with me.
I was last month. I'm definitely number 1 this month again, you know. So yeah, so I on the, you know, on the board, having the back office, the top 10, you know, that you always check. Mine is Oregon. So you see, usually Malaysia, Philippines, Oregon, or Malaysia, Oregon, Philippines, but whatever, that's me there. Wonderful. But it tells you how much. But yeah, I mean, it was insane. And so I would say, I don't even know right now, but I would say right now, I could tell you exactly. It's been, how long has it been? It's been 15 months. What's today? 21st?
Yeah,
today's the 23rd.
Yeah. Yeah, while you're finding that, guys, the same thing's happening with me. And just so you know, I haven't been working 16 hours a day. The wand has sold itself, and the way I position it is, you know, you share details and confidential, you know, blurred out testimonials that are real, that are on Stephen's. By the way, if anyone wants to go there to the testimonial group, just message whoever sent you this video, and they'll send you the link to join the testimonial group. You can check this out for yourself, but I've never sold a wand. I literally have just posted information, and everyone's like, ooh, I want more information. And then after they go away and do their own due diligence, they come back and they go, I'll have one. Okay. Wait, back up a little bit. Yeah, we may have to put a screenshot. Oh, stop right there. Okay. Ooh, a little bit back. It's fading in and out. Well, why don't you just read us the highlights? How many people are in the organization now? Like yours?
Oh, 31,550 people.
That's so amazing. So amazing.
31,550 people since January 21st, 2022.
Wow. And how many wands have you personally sold? I know you have several accounts, and in each account you have, you know, you've sold under those accounts. How many do you think?
Well, my main account, I sold 42, and my other one I sold like 125.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 165 wands.
Right. So you don't have to sell thousands of wands to do this. You tell people who tell people.
No, it's all about multiple.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, I've been totally blessed. Great leaders. Yeah, I've been totally
Yeah, yeah,
blessed.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
You, John.
I'm gonna press pause in a few minutes and talk more business oriented to those that are in my downline. So this next part will be an exclusive video for just the people who are in my tree, my organization. But before we do that, is there anything you want to tell, like, the 4,000 subscribers, and my YouTube channel and everyone else about the wand in general? I would say, guys, just try it. I mean, for goodness sakes, you'll see the results or you won't. And my favorite testimonies are from the people who are like, yeah, okay, I'll try it. I have chronic this or chronic that, or, and then they just go to work and then they're like, what just happened? And they always come back and say, oh, I might be sharing this. So what do you want to say, Ricky? I mean, you're just such a shining example of
Well, I'll just say a couple more things that's in my heart. I mean, you know, if you really want to become successful, I mean, it has to become a mission for you. I mean, it has to be about helping people. I mean, in the beginning, it was about, yeah, I need to make some money. But when this thing started taking off, it was like, I knew the money was going to come. I never really pitched a business opportunity. I never pitched a business opportunity. I still don't even pitch the business opportunity. Yeah. Sometimes I tell people about, it's the wand, you pitch the wand because it's like, this works on so many different dimensions that when you come from your heart and you speak to another person from your heart, they might not hear you in their mind, but they hear you in their heart.
So true.
And it's kind of like this language. It's kind of like your heart talks to their heart. They might not even know why they say yes, but they're saying yes because their heart is telling them to say yes. Yeah. So you have to communicate to people's hearts. I mean, everybody wants to have their heart spoken to, So you need to, communicate from your heart to somebody else's heart. And it has to be for you trying to help them, to share something that benefits them. I mean, this is the greatest device ever created in the history of the world. I mean, this is available to change humanity. I mean, so many millions and millions of suffering. That are on
suffering. Yeah. So how old is the company again? The company is not that old, right?
No, it's going on 2 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going on 2 years.
If you ever wondered what it was like to have, like, Microsoft be just starting out and you have an opportunity to have a stake in it, now is that moment. And also, I just want to, before we say goodbye to the general tribal followers that aren't yet in my organization, as you said, it's on a different dimensional layer completely and quantumly, but I have found it's the water, because we are 90% water. And then when you wand the water and then you drink the water, I have a best-selling book on water bending and assisting frequencies. And I had a vision like 8 years ago that there would be some machine. I thought it would be like a scanner, where you lay down and I was in my mind saying it's going to sing songs of wholeness. It's going to sing songs of wholeness. It's going to get your cells back online with divine. And, when I saw Stephen Keller's post, one, he wasn't even my friend. The algorithm of Facebook, like, somehow synced us up. Two, he didn't even say anything about it. He just said, this is how we roll at the Keller household, or something like that. And the second I looked at the device, I was like, that's the thing. I'm like, what is this? And I messaged him immediately. He never said it was for sale. He never said you can build a business. I just knew with my heart, as you said, it speaks beyond boundaries, and people magnetize the information they need. Their higher self just puts them in contact. And so literally I have done nothing but just share this whole time. And in fact, first, when I got it, I was opposed to sharing because I was like, well, this is a big deal because I'm, an author and I've been teaching for so many years, and this is not a decision you take lightly, bringing this into your brand. And I was like, no, I'll just see how it goes for me. And the results were just incredible. More energy, more connectivity. As you said, this vibrancy, this awareness, this joy. And I was already at a very elevated space. But then I started wanting to release my emotional traumas and issues. And then I started deleting my epigenetical information that wasn't serving me. And then I was playing with the water, and now, you know, it used to it takes 6 hours for a code that I channel to infuse in the water. Now you wand it for 60 seconds and it's done. And it's like, oh my word. So before we leave, what's your experience with the water? I know you've done a lot of really cool experiments with the pH and other things, and like dowsing, but just to confirm that, you know, we aren't making this up. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I got these. I don't know if you've seen these devices I have. They're called, where are they? They're around here somewhere. I think they're packed up in the RV since we've been traveling. They're the universal aura scanners, and they test the energy of things. You know, you can see them on my video. John Scabola got a set. I got a set, and we did some stuff like that. But I've done a lot of water, and I'm not a scientist. For sure. I mean, I don't understand everything about everything. I don't really know for sure. I'm not a water expert, you know. All I know is that when you point this thing at the water, it immediately charges. It immediately changes the frequency of it. I mean, people say, how long do you have to do it? Does it become charged, become structured? I don't know the answers to all that stuff, because I all I know is that as soon as I point this at the water, something happens immediately.
Yeah.
It's not like you gotta wait. I don't think time exists in that realm. You know, I don't think that time exists in that quantum realm, because it's instantaneous. I pointed this at water, and those things have opened up immediately. So it's charged the water immediately. And then I've done experiments where I've taken a small amount of, like, I filled up a whole bathtub of water, and I tested with the bathtub with the aura scanner, and it was like nothing happened. There was no energy. And then I charged a little bit of water, and I threw the water into the bathtub, and boom, within a second, it totally shifted. And I did it with a swimming pool. I mean, we were at an Airbnb, and this was a different experiment. We were at Airbnb in Southern California, somewhere, I think on our way to Joshua Tree or whatever. And Wendy was at one end of the pool, and we had an extension cord and stuff like that. And I was at the other end of the pool. And I was holding the aura scanner, and nothing was moving. And she was at the other end of the pool, and she turned on the wand, and she's charging the water from that end of the pool. And as soon as she started charging the water from that end of the pool, the aura scanner started opening like this.
Yeah.
From the other end of the pool.
Yeah.
You know? So I mean, I don't understand it in my rational mind how that works. All I know is that something shifted immediately. You know, I mean, it's like, water is boundless, you know. I mean, it's just one drop is the same as a whole swimming pool. You know, I mean,
Atlantic Ocean. So
I don't.
Yeah, so they've done experiments that I teach my students about with homeopathy specifically, where they can encode an energetic signature from one droplet of one molecule of water into another distantly, by way of just the energy in between, because it's connected on the inside. That's what I found. Water is a wormhole. Every drop of water is connected to every other drop of water in the universe. And so you can actually go, it's from the inside out. That's why it's instantaneous, because there's no time passing, traveling. It's just, oh, I got it. It's like Rumi said, we're not a drop of water in the ocean, we're the entire ocean in a drop. It's a hologram. And if you that one hologram, it's like, boop, and everything gets online very, very quickly. And you can drop, you're doing grid work. I drop one drop of water in the ocean, and just because people have to have a linear time, I say by tomorrow it'll be everywhere in the world. But it's really instantaneous. It's instantaneous how this works. And this device changes lives. It changes your outlook. It changes you from the inside out. And there's nothing it cannot do. It puts you into homeostasis, back in line. It basically sings songs of wholeness. Your cells remember without the clutter of this fragmented, destructive, fear-based energy of stress, of overwhelm, of depression, of any sort of binding mental looping, or any encoded things that don't serve us. It strips all that down, and then you're just free. And so, you know, jump on in, guys. Don't buy one from me. Don't buy one from Ricky unless you heard it through us first. Go to the person. Go to the person who got you here. And we can't wait to explore with you inside the testimonial group. Ricky's going to say one final word to all of you, and then I'm going to press pause, and we're going to go into the segment just for my team builders. All right, guys, namaste. Thank you so much, Ricky, for being with us today. Any final thoughts?
No. Oh, just do it. I mean, just do it. Just help people. Just make it a mission. Get married to Iteracare. Live with it, sleep with it. You know, everything you do with your wife. You know, fight with it. I fought with it many times. You know, just.
I love it. Oh, you're amazing.
Right.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Bye for now.